Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going great, John. I am just loving waking up every single morning and seeing the fall colors outside my window. As the trees are changing and the leaves are starting to fall, and I just love the colors. And I don't get out enough to drive around and see all of the trees and the different colors for fall, but I just love fall. My sister always says, "This is your favorite time of the year." She, of course, lives in Florida, so she's got palm trees.
Oh, yeah.
But I like the seasons. You don't know if you're alive and you feel that bite of cold air, and that makes you stand up and like, "Ooh, it's a little chilly and nippy out here." You're made of
Yeah.
strong stuff. Not being in the sun all the time and warp your brain. But what can I say? That's my family.
Yeah.
I
I
shouldn't say
gotcha.
warp your brain. I could be accused of being judgmental about people living in the sunny state. So I like warm air as much as anybody else. So just it's how I end and begin the new year in Florida.
Right.
Yes. So before I face the harshness of winter. So
All
anyway,
right. Yeah. So, what's the chocolate news of the week, Andrea?
we got 5 days left of the chaos of the presidential election.
Oh,
I should
God.
I shouldn't say chaos. I should say, um, I'm gonna run out of popcorn before this ends.
Oh, yeah.
So, and everyone's on pins and needles. In fact, I was at my hairdresser's today and she was like, "Is everybody around you nervous? Are they afraid? Are they?" I was like, "Everyone is nervous. Everyone is, you have your different folks around you. Some are supporting Harris, some are supporting Trump. My sister, who works down in Florida, has a young woman who she works with who supports Trump. Unfortunately, she's black,
Of course.
and which is sad. And and she says, and the typical argument is, well, he gave us that check. No, he didn't. He just put his name on it.
Exactly.
The Democrats gave you the check. But anyway, there are all takes all kinds in this presidential election. But as an observer, and I love seeing what people post on. I'm not a big TikTok person, but I'm a more of a Instagram X, formerly Twitter person.
Right.
And what I'm seeing, what people are posting on X is remarkable. I have seen more Republicans who normally don't vote Democrat. I've seen white women vote Democrat than ever before. Even a few men. I've seen young people, a lot of young people, proud to say, "I just voted for the first time. Yay!" I've seen a lot of that. So there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of joy and cheerfulness going into this presidential race. Now, mind you, a lot of people voting early and across the nation. There are some shenanigans going on, in these last 5 days. Um, One is the rally that 45 held. I try not to say his name, DT. DT held a rally at Madison Square Garden, which I is one of my favorite places to go for any activity. And if you're in New York City, it is a place that you must check off your list to experience, especially when you're high up looking down, watching something. 20,000 people filled Madison Square Gardens. You may hear people try to claim more, but Madison Square Garden only fills 20,000 people, only holds 20,000 people. You can't
Gotcha.
put any more people in there. You just can't because it sits on top of the train tracks. You can't. There's no way. Anyway, Donald Trump held a 6 hour rally, and out of that rally was more vile, misogynistic, racial slurs, bigotry that I've ever heard about in my life. I barely could watch a smidget of it. It was so insulting. It was equated to a rally that was held there 80 something years ago. It was a Nazi rally held 80 years
Right.
ago.
I heard about that.
And so it was equivalent to that. But there was a comedian who is known for, as you told me, for attending roasts. He's a roasting comedian or
Yeah, a
a,
roast
co-
comedian.
a
Yeah.
roast comedian, and he made a vile joke about Puerto Rico calling it a floating island of garbage. Well, the backlash of that has been very interesting. Very immediately, I mean, you ticked off Bad Bunny? Is that his name?
Yeah. Yeah, Bad Bunny. Yeah.
Bad Bunny, 10 million followers. He immediately, soon as the joke was heard and he heard about it, he immediately endorsed Kamala Harris to all of his 10 million followers. That was followed by Ariana Grande, Jennifer Lopez. There was one more, Anna Navarro, Sonny Houston on The View. Um, Today on MSNBC, God, she is a Latino. She is both an actress and a producer. I cannot think of her name right now. She was on there talking about it and the effects, the what is happening in the Puerto Rican community. In Pennsylvania alone, in the Lehigh Valley area in Allentown, they have over 300,000 Puerto Ricans that live there.
Mm.
They're up in air. And then around the country, you have a number of communities where Puerto Ricans live. They're all livid. Now, there are some who support DT. They have their beliefs. They support the man who supports the man who said that joke. Um, and so the backlash is being felt by the Republican Party. President Biden, in his response to what was said by the comedian, made a comment where he mentioned Republicans or something garbage. And the Republicans sort of implied that President Biden was saying all Republicans were garbage. So they're running away with that. DT appeared in a garbage truck, showing that he's a friend of the working man. Yay, putting on a safety vest. Again, all because of this garbage comment. But DT was the first one to use the garbage comment when he called all Americans were garbage. No, he said that the USA was the garbage can of the world because we let everybody in.
Gotcha.
But no one called him on it, except for a very few. But no one overall in the media called him on it. But now everyone's upset because Biden said something about garbage. And the Puerto Ricans are upset because their island that they love, which is very beautiful and very has a lot of history, they call that garbage. And they reminded everybody that when Donald DT was president and the hurricane, I think it was Maria, went
Yeah.
through the island, he delayed any help and he went there and threw paper towel into the crowd
Oh yeah.
to
Good
them.
times.
Good times. So there's that. In the meantime, on the same day that this occurred, Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, was releasing her plan. Like she released a plan for Black men, for HBC. She's been releasing all these plans, right? She released a plan to help Puerto Rico stabilize and get on better footing and uplift their representation in the American government because she believes in the Puerto Rican people. And that was before she released it before the joke came out, which is the irony of it all. And now everyone is supporting Kamala, and which it could be the turning tide for um, the Harris Waltz campaign.
Yeah.
And but also Kamala Harris gave a very presidential speech on Tuesday at the Ellipse to take back the creating a beautiful memory for America at the Ellipse instead of the horrific one that DT created when he lost his reelection bid against Biden. And out of that, there's a new ad that she's released asking everyone to vote for freedom. and that she's going to be a president for everybody. Gave a very powerful speech. It was 30 minutes long. Um, and also out of this race, it was a very powerful speech talking about reproductive rights, freedoms for everyone, democracy. She understands a lot of people still don't know her yet, and that she tried to explain once again who she was and what her plans are for the future. And she basically said that if DT is elected, he has an enemies list that he will implement on day one, where she has a to-do list that she will implement on day one. So it's two viewpoints for America, one of chaos and fear, the other one of joy and upliftment. I prefer
Okay.
joy than chaos.
Yeah.
So there's that. But also good news that has come out of all of this is that Kamala Harris, also at her rally, her speech on Tuesday, 75,000 people were at the ellipse to hear her
Wow.
speech. Yes. Did I also mention that DT was up in arms over the fact, and he went on a rampage on his Truth Social
Of course he
talking
did.
about her because he was so upset that, again, claiming that it was AI generated of that crowd when it's, she had a bigger crowd than him. He had 20,000, she had 75,000. And that was with overflow, so it's unreal. But also, what I want to say is the new polling has shown that Harris, where everyone's claiming that Black men were against her, um, she is now seeing an influx of Black men voting for her. And she did the work to get their vote, as she puts it. And she's met with a number of people, held a number of interviews where they're men focused places where they got to know her and hear what she had plans for. They like what they heard. So instead of going with the guy, they're going with her. And also, it doesn't help the fact that there's a campaign out there to shame men who vote for DT instead of voting for reproductive rights for their women or their daughters or their nieces or goddaughters. So men got shamed, but I think a lot of Black men saw that she is good for them and is going to vote for them.
Yeah.
So there's that. So congratulations to her. So that being said, on a sad note, I'm going to change the focus to locally. The icon of our generation, of our youth, was Frisch's Big Boy.
Oh, yes.
And you didn't live until you got a double cheeseburger from Frisch's Big Boy. Oh no, the Big Boy, which was two patties, the sauce, everything was great.
The tartar
Um,
sauce.
the tartar
Oh
sauce,
my
yes. Oh
God.
my God, the tartar sauce. Um, Unfortunately, you know, Frisch's got sold, new owners. Now the owners are in a little bit, I guess, financial trouble because
That's
they're
an
being
understatement.
they're being evicted all over the place from their restaurants. The company that owns where these restaurants are located, they haven't been paid in a long time, allegedly. And well, I'll put it like this: there is a dispute about rental payment for the spot where the restaurants are located, and basically the landlord is going to court and getting them evicted, and they're being served their eviction notices. So we're seeing Frisch's restaurants shut down left and right. I feel sorry for the people who work for Frisch's because Frisch's is the mainstay of Cincinnati, and now instead of being Frisch's running around with a hamburger in his hand, we are closed, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um,
It's sad. The one near me just closed last week.
it, it's
Yeah.
it it's it wounds me to see a great restaurant that actually, you could get great breakfast, brunch, dinner,
Oh,
lunch, what have you.
I love their breakfast bar so much.
Oh my God, isn't it wonderful? The
It
food is
is.
so good on their breakfast bar. Now families got to find someplace else to go.
Yeah.
Um, and it's sad. But it new owners, new style, new whatever. I don't know what they did, but they messed up.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. So hopefully it'll recoup. But I have good news. It's not Frisch's, but if you're ever on UC's campus, Go to the Bearcat Cafe located in the Tangeman Center. There is a new barbecue spot in Tangeman Center.
Ooh,
It's called AC Barbecue, and it's owned by Anthony Anderson and Cedric the Entertainer.
interesting.
Yes. And number one, you never would think that Anthony Anderson and Cedric the Entertainer would do barbecue, but you know, you never know who's going to do what.
Yeah.
Supposedly the cuisine is rich, flavorful barbecue rooted in Black excellence. It offers high quality barbecue food. It's a fresh change on the campus, according to the news record. They're offering two separate menus. Um, One menu consists of food that is available through UC's meal exchange program, so the students can use their dining plan meal swipes. This menu contains less options than the full menu. However, the lack of choice is traded by the ability to use the meal swipes. The other menu includes 6 different entrees, including breakfast burritos, sandwiches, lemon stepper tenders. Students also have the option between two sides of apple slaw or AC's original take on the tater tots, Diego's tater dots. I have no clue what that means, but this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but also I would say, it's something that sounds great. Anthony Anderson did come to Cincinnati, and he was on UC's campus at the beginning of food service. And he was seen popping into study rooms, helping people order at the Bearcat Cafe, hosting a meet and greet with students and stuff like that. He even went to a game. And he was here for the charity basketball game that held at Fifth Third Arena between the Bearcats and the Ohio State Buckeyes. And so, he was there cheering the UC men's basketball team on and everything. So, fantastic. Congratulations to UC, and we're gonna have to go get some barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. And then the I would say, they in Cincinnati, in out in Colburn Township, they broke ground on the new firing range at the um, Hampton County Sheriff's Training Center, which has become a comprehensive training center and will feature the firing range there now. And that way, the firing range that is located in Lincoln Heights, bordered upon Evendale, Glenday, and Wyoming, those people will finally get some rest and not have to hear the gunshots anymore from the firing range. I think the new range will open up within a year. Um, in the first phase of a couple of phases of the new building of the comprehensive training facility with the sheriff's office. And that they broke ground on that just last week. Congratulations on that. It has been a 5-year fight with the Lincoln Heights residents. And they're finally going to get their day of peace with hopefully within a year. They will not have to hear the sound of gunshots anymore, at least from the firing range.
That's great.
So congratulations on that. A little sad note, real quick, Central State has been placed on fiscal watch um, because of some choices that were made under the last administration at Central State, but they are working with the state auditor's office, and hopefully they'll be taken off the fiscal watch list within 3 years. And hopefully they won't be back on that again, because there's a lot of great things happening at Central State. I am a Central State alumnus. And, I'm all for Central State, and it's sad to see them in this predicament, but I'd rather see them admit bad decisions were made, but they're trying to right the ship and make sure that our young people have a great education and move forward in their life. So congratulations on trying to make the best of a bad situation. And then finally, City Council approved the $275,000 for a new gun violence prevention program called Advanced Peace, where they pay the most violent criminals to not use a gun and turn their lives around. Normally, other areas that have the Advanced Peace program, they have an annual budget between $1 to $2 million. In New York City, they have a $10 million budget, but they're part of the city budget. That's the only reason why they have that. But it is something that prevents crime prevention. And in most areas that have it, they say crime does go down. So we'll see the impact of this and bring it to Cincinnati, even though there's some speculation about its effectiveness in the state of Ohio, since Ohio is a gun carry state. And that is all the chocolate news that I have for today.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrea. Well, that's it for today's show. I want to thank Andrea again for all of the good chocolate news. Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
And you can find more information about today's topic and past podcast episodes at www.thecincinnatiherald.com, the Sesh newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. I'm John Alexander Reese,
And I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.